Tuesday, March 5th edition of the Carolina Weather Video. And let's take a peek at the radar this morning. A lot of what's on the radar here during the 5 o'clock hour is not making it to the ground, but you look off to the west of us, some pretty good areas of rain back into Kentucky and Tennessee, marching eastward. And then as you head northwest, you get into the snow aspect of this system, stretching from parts of the eastern Dakotas into Minnesota and Wisconsin and Iowa. The snow heading toward the Chicago area as we speak as well. Further to the south, some snow and rain over parts of the Ozarks and northeastern Oklahoma. And again, this whole storm system is gradually now pulling on into the region. Now, for the mountains, there might be a very brief period, I'm talking in the North Carolina mountains, a very brief period of sleet or freezing rain this morning, but then it'll be rain. But then, as the upper level low moves on in, it'll kick over to some snow. And you have winter storm warnings in effect in many mountain spots and winter weather advisories in some other areas. And that's all for snow as this storm system moves on through. So here we go today. The system advancing on in. For the Piedmont, our period of heaviest rain probably occurs this evening, at least for the Charlotte and Greensboro areas. That's when there could be a couple of thunderstorms involved too. And then that system sweeps on through, and late tonight and tomorrow morning, up around the Triad, up to the Virginia border areas, that's where there could be a couple of snow showers. Does not look like a big deal at all, and still looks like the heaviest snows will be off to the north of us, up into the Virginias. Maybe a little bit of accumulating snow in a few sections of northeastern North Carolina too. Now, the rain aspect of this system, pretty moisture-charged system, so the rain amounts look pretty generous here across the region, and especially as we get into the day tomorrow and tonight to some extent, but especially tomorrow, it's going to be windy. Look at the winds here on Stormcast, getting upwards of 30 plus miles an hour, even much higher in the mountains with wind-driven snow. So got a lot of wind going to move through the region tomorrow. Now, speaking of snow, this will be a big snowstorm for the Virginias, and some pretty decent totals in parts of the Northeast too. Let me run down some snow totals for you, and you'll notice a consistent theme here. Northern Virginia, eastern West Virginia, parts of Maryland and Pennsylvania, that'll be the jackpot zones, it appears, in many instances in terms of snow totals. And, of course, the mountains will do pretty well, too. There's the European model, much the same area outlined. Here comes the GFS. Again, West Virginia doing well. And surrounding areas, the northeastern part of the state and the NAM, very much the same. So, again, your heaviest totals will indeed be up there in parts of the Virginias, and the question marks are up here. We'll see how much snow winds up making it up there. And of course, the mountains will do pretty well, and a little bit of synoptic snow and some northwest flow snow with this system as well. So here's what we look like in the upper levels. This is this afternoon on the European model. There's your upper level low diving to the southeast. By the time we get to tomorrow morning, the powerhouse upper level low is right near on the European model, the Virginia and North Carolina state line. And then by 72 hours, that's Thursday evening, the upper level low is offshore from the northeast. And so the result at the surface here on the European model, here comes the rain. If we get that to cooperate. There we go. Rain spreading on in today. By tomorrow morning, your surface low is situated near the northern outer banks, or maybe southeastern Virginia coast, and from there it strengthens. 6 hours later, that's a lot of snow flying in much of the Virginias, and again, we'll see if any of that snow pivots into extreme north or northeastern North Carolina, and certainly the mountains doing pretty well in the snow department too. By 66 hours, the system is gone, although still scraping through parts of the northeast. Let me show you the regional Canadian model, and look at that heavy snow. This will be valid later this evening. Heavy snow up in the Virginias. There's your band of rain moving through the Piedmont. We get out to the pre-dawn hours. Again, that's a lot of snow cranking from the Ohio Valley into the Virginias and parts of Pennsylvania and Maryland. This will be valid a little after daybreak tomorrow, and you can see maybe a few of those snow showers trying to work down into northern parts of North Carolina. But in terms of accumulating snow outside of the mountains in North Carolina, it really just does not look like a big deal at all. One more chart for you before I wrap up the video. In longer range, European model on the left, GFS on the right. This is the average of days 8, 9, and 10 here, the upper level pattern, and a lot of differences. But notice on the GFS, big time ridge up into western Canada, and big block, or I should say big ridge rather, into Greenland, and that's a pattern that'll bring some, if that's correct, some really cold air into parts of the Great Lakes in the northeast, and that'll try to bleed southeastward, but it's a much different pattern on the European. But just want to show you that if the GFS is right, no sign of any sustained spring-like warmth anytime soon. All right, that is it for today's edition of the Carolina Video. Let me say that real quick. It is going to be much warmer by the weekend and early next week. I'm talking about a big-time, prolonged period of warmth, if the GFS is correct, is not in the offing over the next few weeks. All right, that's it for today. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, and God bless.